think, coming off last game, obviously finished strong, but not starting off, the way I wanted, and especially with our season being on the line last game, I was just excited to. We had another opportunity today as a team, and for myself, just to kind of bounce back. To be honest, they had us on the ropes in Game 6, right? The end of that third, going into the fourth. The game was back and forth. The crowd was into it. They had us, and we figured out a way to win. And that was a great feeling to win that one and to come back home, and have another opportunity.
Just look at it, it's a good step. Like someone said, it was not a failure, steps to success. But yeah, you just gotta, it's tough. But you can't be sad about it and all you want, but you always gotta find ways to be better and keep improving, and that's what I'm gonna do, win or lose.
Someone also said, Michael, that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Right. So much to unpack as the Celtics sent the Sixers packing yet again in Game 7 yesterday. I was going down memory lane. I think when I first met you back at the beginning of this century, I feel like you had just come off of the Celtics beat and into being a columnist at the Boston Globe fairly recently. This was right. Around
Correct.
1999.
2000.
Summer 99, yeah, 2000. And so I want to start in the winning locker room. And I reference that because you've seen so much of this team over the last 2+ decades. You have a great grasp of the history of this storied franchise in Boston. And obviously you still call the Boston area home, very much tapped in, both as a journalist, but as just a resident, tapped into all things New England sports. So I just like some context because, I've rarely, if ever, seen a shooting display. I've rarely, if ever, seen somebody feeling it the way Jayson Tatum was yesterday, breaking the all of 2-week-old Game 7 scoring record with 51 points, and just getting whatever he wanted, wherever he wanted, against whomever he wanted, whenever he wanted yesterday, really the last 5 quarters. And so I'd love to know from you, how do you put it in context in terms of just Celtics lore, all the great players who've come through Boston, all the great performances that have taken place in Boston, in Game 7, in the old Boston Garden or Boston Garden or TD Garden, either Garden. I just want to go. I just want to go to Boston here. How is it being processed and celebrated in Beantown, if they still call it that?
Celebrated.
They still call it that?
Oh yeah, they do. They do.
Okay.
And now people do it, like the Boston residents just do it kind of ironically, but not like, oh yeah, we are Beantown. They call it the Bean or something like that, knowing that tourists take the whole Beantown thing to another level. But they'll be like, yeah, we'll acknowledge it, but we ain't gonna die on that hill. Anyway, I'll tell you this, good memory going back there. I remember we went to that game. We went to a Celtics-Sixers playoff game. It was AI and his Sixers taking on Antoine Walker and Paul Pierce and their Celtics. And I said, let's go to the game because I covered this team when they were down and out, and I want to see them in the playoffs. I want to see what they look like when they grow up. And I remember we went to a game. I don't think we were covering it. We just kind of went to check it out. But how's it being played in Boston? Well, keep this in mind with Boston. Bill Russell there was a Bill Russell tribute here in 1999. And Aretha Franklin was there, and Jim Brown was there. A lot of luminaries, geniuses of industry, I call them, were at Boston Garden in '99. Larry Bird was also there. And Larry Bird saying to Bill Russell, he said, I respect you so much, your 11 championships in 13 years, because when you come to Boston, if you don't win multiple championships, you feel like you don't have game. So pressure was on me not just to win one championship, but to win multiples because of the tradition that you set with your Celtics. So that being said, this can't be the best organizationally because it didn't come in a championship. It didn't come in a championship game. But let me tell you, it was legendary. It goes into the canon of legendary Garden performances by home players and away players. Away players, Michael Jordan and his 63 in 1986. That's way up there. But this, Michael, this was amazing. This was, if you just say, throw it out, just a dude balling out the best you've seen in Boston Garden. This is in the top 5. Goes in there, goes up there with LeBron James and his 45 for the Miami Heat in 2012. Paul Pierce in 2008 against LeBron. I think he had 41 in that game. That was a game 7 in the conference semifinals. But this was incredible from Jayson Tatum, not only scoring, not only rebounding, dishing. Do you realize the man had 0 turnovers? He had no turnovers yesterday. So he had everything going.
He was on one, man.
They needed it. They needed it. And the context, you want to talk about context. This quote was given after game 6, humbly on one of the best basketball players in the world, when he was 5 for 21 from the field and had a great fourth quarter. So think about where he was through 3 quarters in Philly in game 6. Put his fourth quarter in Philly on Friday night.
Those five quarters.
His entire game on Mother's Day in Boston.
Look.
Yeah, it's one of the top 5 performances I've ever seen.
On Mother's Day, Deuce's dad, son, the Sixers, is my headline. I mean, I know everything is about rings. I know everything is about it. It's definitely championship or bust in Boston, given the history there. But this feels like a game we would still remember and still talk about, even if they don't beat Jimmy Butler's Heat or go on to beat either LeBron and AD's Lakers or Nikola Jokic's Nuggets. Regardless of how this season ends for these Celtics, it does feel like a performance we'd still talk about. However, they've been regulars in the conference finals. We know that they lost in the finals last year. I know that there's also been some frustration for you and many other close observers of the Celtics this season. As good a team as they were this season, there was some frustration, some battles with immaturity and inconsistency. And now all of a sudden here they are, not only back in the Eastern Conference Finals, but as it stands, title favorites. It's one thing to beat the Sixers, who we'll pick apart in a second.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Is this a championship? Is this a championship team?
Oh, the Celtics? Mm-hmm. They are a champion. They are a championship team. Now, I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna name names. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna expand the field just so to protect everybody, to protect the innocent. Between us, there are 6 children that we're responsible for. 6 of them. Now, I don't know which. I got a kid in mind for me. I don't know if you have a kid in mind that you'd have this conversation with. You got all the ability in the world. You got all the talent in the world. You need to stop messing around now. Stop messing around. If you go and focus, you're the best. You know you're great. I know. We know you can get it done.
I told one of them kids the other day, I said, hey man, C's are for free.
I know who it is.
You can make C's.
You just gave it away.
Pay for it. You know what I mean? Let's be honest about this. Just let me know. But anyway, so
that's right.
It sounds like you're saying
we spent all this. Listen, we spent all this money. I know you can give me more than that. I know you can. And so I'm a proud product. I'm a proud product of New Orleans public schools. Ain't nothing wrong with public schools. So you ain't got to mess around on my dime. We had the same conversation. So look, that's who the Celtics are. When they see somebody, when they see iron, if they recognize you as iron, they go ball out.
They're sharp. Yeah.
If there's any moment, if they can be condescending, they will be condescending, and then they'll just mess around with it. So I will tell you quickly, I'm a little nervous about their performance against the Miami Heat because the Heat are iron, but they're iron wrapped in number 8 seed clothing, and the Celtics might look down on them. So watch out.
They can't. After last year, or really the last several years, I mean, they know this team enough. Third time in the last 4 in this very spot. They're too familiar with their work to look at them as light work. But I hear you. I hear you on the Celtics in there. I mean, because and now pivoting to the Sixers, who are frauds until further notice. The Sixers, I don't know. I'm trying to decide what's worse. First of all, is this more about the Celtics or more about the Sixers in my head? But then I also had, what was worse? Blowing Game 6 at the crib when you got a chance to close them out, not even have to go on the road for Game 7? Or throwing in the towel in Game 7? Because I didn't just see a team that got its ass kicked. I saw a team that quit. And by quit, I mean like in the third quarter, they never got their MVP the ball inside. Their MVP either didn't want the ball, didn't get the ball, or when he did get it, didn't know what to do with it, like throwing it back court. He was bad. He was bad.
He was just bad.
They got into a 3-point shootout with Boston. It's like, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, because that's what that amounted to. And they just kept trying to jack up threes, make 28-point shots. It was the dumbest, worst display of elimination game basketball that I have seen in a long, long time. And the 76ers need to be 86th, as we know them. And we'll talk about Nikola Jokic in a second. But I'm telling you, man, like, I'm loving the way that this postseason's played out. Now, by the way, I'm not Ben Simmons here. I'm not showing up to my haters' funerals. Like, I'm not taking any joy in what happened to the Sixers yesterday. I didn't have a dog in this fight, and I really like Joel Embiid.
We know you ain't Ben Simmons. We know you ain't Ben Simmons because you actually cooking right now. You actually doing something. I mean, you actually playing.
Right.
I mean,
right. He's like,
so go ahead.
The irony of him being at home watching basketball. But anyway, I love the way that this is played out because there were so many people acting as though some kind of crime against humanity had been committed over the last 2 years because Nikola Jokic was MVP and Joel Embiid had not been MVP. And at this year was Joel Embiid's training day. Maybe not even his best year for all we know, but it was going to be some kind of lifetime achievement award. And he was deserving, just like he was deserving the last couple of years. But it was because, and this is why I hate the conflation of the postseason with the freaking regular season for a regular season award. Because right now, ain't nobody in his right mind. And I understand Joel Embiid was hurt. I hear you. I know he was playing through a bad knee. He's always playing through something. But there is nobody in his right mind that would say that right now they take Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP, over Nikola Jokic, the way he's performing in the postseason. And furthermore, for all the criticism that Nikola Jokic got for being MVP twice over with nothing to show for it in the postseason, what has Joel Embiid done in the postseason? What has he ever done in the postseason?
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like, oh, Nikola Jokic, how is he the 2-time MVP? He looking real funny in the light. Again, because there is no Ben Simmons to blame. Now, Doc, it's enough. That's enough. We've seen this movie too many times. This is Scorcher 6. This is Scorcher 6. Remember in Tropic Thunder, Scorcher 6? This time, it's different. Like, no, it is not going to be different. If the Sixers get to an important game next season with Doc Rivers as head coach, they're going to lose it. If they have a lead in the series, and they're going to lose it. Like, they're not. Look, he is not the guy to get them over the hump, and I don't want to hear no more excuses. Pray that James Harden declines his option and goes to Houston, but blow this damn team up. I'm sick of the Sixers. Get them the F up out of here because I'm sick of falling for this banana in the tailpipe every freaking year with, is this the Sixers year? No, it ain't the Sixers year. No, it's not. And it will not be for the foreseeable future, okay? Unless they do, I'm sorry. I love Joel Embiid, but maybe he ain't that dude either. Because I didn't see that yesterday. There we go. And I am not big on making career proclamations of what somebody cannot be or never will be. But to this point, Joel Embiid has not shown himself to be that dude, and he has skated by and large because there was a Ben Simmons to pick on and pile on, and there was a Doc Rivers to pick on and pile on, and yes, there's a James Harden, who I know I was just kissing his ass the other day. That was more in jest than anything. But that was more in jest than anything. Okay? But there's always somebody else. But Joel Embiid, congratulations on your MVP. But every year he's talking about, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to. But you gonna average 40 next year? Like, I mean,
maybe.
Like, they were cooked, and they had no leadership and no heart and no toughness. And I don't know what the hell they were talking about in timeouts, but it did them absolutely no good. I felt like I was watching an AAU team just quit. And they shut it down and decided to chuck threes, thinking that they were going to outshoot the Boston Celtics in the Boston Garden in Game 7. What a joke of a team. Blow that team up completely.
Hey, man.
Just
look,
blow it up.
It's almost like, you know, based on your shirt, it's almost like you're saying somebody, Thanos is sitting there talking about Philadelphia. Philadelphia is inevitable. The Sixers collapse is inevitable as he sits there and kind of massages his hand, kind of flexes his hand there with all those infinity stones. But let me say this. You said that Doc is not the team to get the Sixers over the hump. Okay, and the Sixers are not the team to get Doc over the hump. Maybe they're just a bad match altogether, because let's just look at the stats.
I don't know but okay, I like Doc. I like Doc. They ain't a team to get Doc over the hump. If Doc has a team, that team's going to probably underachieve for one reason or another at this point in the postseason.
I'm just saying, but look at the numbers.
Won a championship.
Look at all the numbers.
Okay,
I don't know. I'm talking about the numbers recently. So
which
last
one?
time
The
Doc,
0-9 in second round series, clinching games.
No, the last time
the 6
Doc,
and 10 in Game 7, including 5 straight losses.
Last time Doc went to the conference finals was 2012. The process, the Philadelphia process, started by Sam Hinkie in 2013. They bring in Embiid in 2014. They have all these things. They had Jimmy Butler. They've had Ben Simmons. They've had, Embiid last year said, you know who's tough? You know who's tough? P.J. Tucker. We need a guy like him. They bring in P.J. Tucker. They bring back James Harden. James Harden takes less so they can bring in P.J. Tucker and Daniel House. They have all this stuff. We're better this year. We got a better mentality. They developed Tyrese Maxey. Look, it ain't going to work. It's not Doc. There's not another coach. So, yeah, they probably will fire Doc. I like Doc's answer. Hey, I got 2 years left. I think it's guaranteed. I don't think them checks go bounce. Okay, so Doc, they probably go fire you. Doc. So Doc's going to be out. Tell me the coach.
Given who they have fired,
who's the coach?
Given what coaches
who
have,
is it?
Given what coaches have been fired, somebody else. Just a different voice. I don't know.
But yeah,
it may not be somebody with his resume. It may not be somebody that has a ring. It may not be somebody that has his cachet. It's not a Doc problem.
It ain't Doc.
That's a common denominator if I ever seen one.
The problem with the Sixers,
I'm not saying he's the only problem with the Sixers.
Doc got the job off of Brett Brown's
off of underachievement. No, 100%.
So
you're right.
So Brett
Doc
Brown
ain't been there since 2001. You're
right.
They
look different.
Right.
Personnel's changed. They look different. I think Brett Brown lost to the Celtics and got fired, right? Was that the bubble? Was it Brett Brown there coaching the bubble and he got fired?
Right. That sounds about right. It all runs together.
What's different?
What's different? Doc may not be the only problem, but Doc has a problem, a long-standing problem in closeout games in the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's like we can't keep qualifying and explaining away what the shortcomings, whether it's with the Sixers or the Clippers or even the Celtics at times. I mean, I'm sorry. Or the Magic. I mean, there's a body of work here. It feels like a Groundhog Day because we had this conversation, I don't know, last year about Doc Rivers.
There's also a body of work with Joel Embiid, who has not been to the conference finals in his career. So, hey, he said yesterday, hey, it can't be me and James. James who? James who? Who are you talking about? James Harden? It can't be me and James playing everybody. James ain't playing with you, bro. James was great in Game 1. James was great in Game 4. And he distributed his ass off in Game 5. But where was James yesterday? James Harden who was worse yesterday? There's your question. I don't know.
Who was worse?
Was Harden worse
between
than
Embiid or
was Harden worse than Embiid? I don't know.
Embiid
was worse than
because Embiid is the MVP. And again, I know he's hurt. He is the MVP. That's his team. That's his team. I don't want to hear nobody's sidekicks. I don't want to hear about his supporting cast. Okay?
It's a hell of a
I don't want to
sidekick,
hear
though.
nothing about anybody
That's a hell of a
else.
sidekick. Like, check his rate. Google him. That's not just a mere sidekick guy.
No, hey,
James
listen. I admittedly at times have been a Harden apologist. Going back to our Brooklyn Nets issues, he has had his
He also has a body of work.
Shortcomings. No, they do. So
does.
you know what? Maybe it's just a bunch of people not bringing out the best in one another.
That's
Kurt
it.
Helin is the best.
Ain't no maybe.
We're going to holler at him on the other side. We're going to take this break. Holler at Kurt Helin on the other side. I'm just sick of the Sixers. I'm sick of thinking that this is the year that they could break through, only for the same shit to happen over and over again. Like, hey man, at least there's always the Eagles, Philadelphia. There's always the Eagles. All right. You got that going for you.
Hey, can I say this? Did I get it right? Hey, holler at me, Philly. This John was bad. Did I get that right? This John.
Sounds about right. Yeah, that's a good one.
This John was bad.
That's a good one.
Do you guys feel like you're playing with house money at this point?
What does that mean?
Well, I mean,
I know what it means.
As far as expectations from the outside.
Nah. As Vanda will say, nah. We're trying to win every hand. We're trying to win every hand.
That's your expectation. Our expectations inside.
Yeah. Nah.
Way higher than showing up to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Michael, I realize it's the Lakers. I realize it's LeBron James. But so I said before they eliminated the Warriors that the Lakers, given that they started 2-10, given that where they were early in the season, who they were for that matter, and what they were or weren't, given that they were dead, it seemed to be dead to rights when LeBron went down. For them to be here, to me, made them the story of the playoffs. And then they eliminated the Warriors. And I go back to something. Listen, man, I don't mean to make everything. I don't mean to make everything a GOAT conversation. All right, that's not what I'm here. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I couldn't help but remember the conversation that we had at the start of these playoffs about what if two GOATs, LeBron and Curry, what if they started from 6 or 7 and added number 5? And I gotta say, man, like, this is shaping up. And I know the MVP is in the way, but that makes it even better. This could be his Eiffel Tower. This could be his Rachmaninoff's third. This could be his Pieta. This could be his masterpiece. Like, I know he's got Cleveland. This is for you. I know he's got that. But this could be his masterpiece if a 7 seed with these dudes, I mean, like, it's a good team, but I'm saying it's not like we came into this season, and even this postseason, nobody was expecting the Lakers to be like I thought they could beat the Warriors, but be the obviously superior team to the Warriors. If LeBron mess around and get another ring like this,
what does it mean? It would be incredible.
I'm saying all this, but no, I ain't ready to go there. Okay. But the chorus will be a lot louder, and it could be something of a mic drop moment. And this is different. This isn't the teams where this isn't, what was it, 07? This isn't 07 Cleveland type supporting cast. Is that right?
When they got swept, San Antonio.
Yeah, this isn't the old adage of LeBron and 4 other dudes. Just get LeBron can take anybody to the finals. No. Like, Anthony Davis is the best player on the team right now. More often than not.
They're a good team.
Most important.
They're a really good team.
They're a good team. They're a deep team. Okay, so this isn't like LeBron turning water into wine necessarily. But he did just put up 39 and 9, and he's still King James, and it's still his team, if that makes sense. And so this would be the ultimate jewel in the King's crown. If from the play-in tournament to the finals, to the conference finals, maybe the finals in the NBA championship. I mean, I hear what you're saying. It would be impressive.
I'm not going to go ultimate jewel, though. I'm not going to go ultimate jewel. It would be very impressive if it happens. But still, I mean, let's just put into context what happened with that Cleveland championship. Organization has never won. So you got the weight of that. The Lakers, they won before. They won in the bubble. Right. I know a lot of people put an asterisk
down 3-1.
Next to that.
No, I don't. Against the Warriors.
Down 3-1 to a team that won 73 games in the regular season.
No, absolutely.
And so,
right.
yeah, I mean, I think that's the one. I think that's the one that stands out. But this, I don't know. It's in there.
Because he's never been a real underdog, though.
How about this?
He's an underdog for the first time.
He was an underdog in 16 too when they won it. They were underdogs.
Well, but he was LeBron. But he was LeBron though. He was still considered the best player in the world. His team may have been. I'm saying like this team was 2-10. What were you about to say though? Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you about to say?
I was going to say, to stay with the theme, it would be among the Infinity Stones. I don't know what, it's not the most important one, but it's under. It's an Infinity Stone. It's incredible.
It'd be the Mind Stone because it'd be a hell of a mind job. Kurt Helin has a great mind for basketball. Kurt, I guess just before we get into a Western Conference Finals preview, would love to get just your impressions of these Lakers and where they come from, where they are, and where they still might go.
I think you realized how important this was for LeBron James. I think he recognized what was the potential was and how badly he wanted it when he came back from that foot injury after multiple doctors told him, you should probably go have surgery, man. You should be done for the year. This needs to be looked at. And he might ultimately still need that surgery. He found the doctor who could, the LeBron James of doctors because he told him what he wanted to hear, but found a doctor who was willing to get him back on the floor because he realizes he's only got so many opportunities. And this team is legit. And I think, to your guys' point, I think you were getting at it. Like, this is different than all those other championships because this is the first time he's not the best player on the team. He is the leader, but he's getting other guys to step up. And Anthony Davis has been brilliant, but it's the D'Angelo Russell game. It's the Rui Hachimura game. It's the Austin Reeves games. It's lifting everybody up. That's kind of the ultimate expression of his IQ and his basketball will more than just like 2014 LeBron's like, I want to go win a game. I'll just go win a game. He's not quite that guy anymore.
Right. Not only is he not the best player on the team, not the best player in the league for the first time in a long time, but still at this stage. Michael, you have something real quick before we pivot?
Yeah. I was going to say, what have you seen though from the Lakers? I mean, beyond that, I mean, I don't think we thought championship before the start of the playoffs. Have they shown you a layer, a tweak, a quirk, where you say, Kurt, woo, I didn't know they had that, and this is going to be a problem for other teams?
Their defense has held up better than I kind of thought it would. I thought you might be able to exploit some of the guys on the wings. They've been they've been the best defense in the NBA, like after the All-Star break. That's hung together, and they've picked their spots. They haven't had a great Anthony Davis. They didn't show up for a couple of games, in other series. They've kind of taken took game 2 and game 5 off against Memphis. Like, they have these moments, but they can summon, and LeBron can summon enough peak moments that it just, like I said, all those guys rising up, that's what a championship team feels, right? It's the Celtics last year with Grant Williams putting up 27 against the Bucks in Game 7. You need those moments, and the Lakers are getting those moments.
So I should stay in the moment because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself or ourselves because there's only Nikola Jokic and I mean, one could argue the best team so far in these playoffs. I mean, there's only 4 left. There's only 4 teams to choose from. But the Denver Nuggets, the number 1 seed Denver Nuggets, in the way. It's one thing to beat a flawed Warriors team. It's one thing to beat a mess of a Memphis team. We'll unpack them in a minute too. Do the Lakers, as good as they have looked, do they have anything for the best player maybe in the world right now in Nikola Jokic?
Nobody's stopping Nikola Jokic right now. I think, though, Anthony Davis creates problems for them on the other end, right? Like, neither of these teams match up defensively well with the other team. There's not places you can hide on. There's no Jordan Poole missing every shot. There's no Klay Thompson, who was just awful the last 3 games with his shot, frankly. There's none of that. Denver is loaded. It's their old friend KCP. You know, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will be out there reminding the Lakers, maybe we shouldn't have let him go. He's a great role player. Bruce Brown's been great. Aaron Gordon's been fantastic. Both of these teams match up. I'm really curious. I think a lot of it, doesn't this feel like a Anthony Davis versus Jokic is genuinely
pretty much
weirdly going to decide it, and they're going to have to go against each other because neither team has a matchup otherwise?
Yeah, no, pretty much. I think it might be as simple as a battle of the bigs. We referenced the Warriors a few times. As usual, Steve Kerr probably put it best when it comes to what, in hindsight, was a flawed defending champion.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think this team probably, ultimately maxed out. I think, we were barely in the playoff picture for most of the year. So to make that push, to get there, to win an epic first-round series, and then, to give the Lakers, a fight in this series and have our chances, that puts us in the top, among the top, 8 teams in the league. That's probably where we should be. This is not a championship team. If we were, we'd be moving on.
So speaking of moving on, all right, it's not the last dance. The core wants to run it back as they should. The pool party's over. Jordan Poole. Yeah. It was nice. It was a nice ride. Got to get up. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here. But the most fascinating story, if I can stay with the analogy, is the DJ here, the guy spinning the records.
Yes.
Which is Bob Myers. Like, the fact that Bob Myers has to take his time. To me, it's almost like in marriage when it's just like when you start talking about divorce, that you've been getting divorced for a while. You just started talking about it. It's like with Bob Myers, I guess what's there to think about? You know what I mean? Like, is it money? Yeah. Kurt, it's like if he's taking some time to think about it at a critical time.
Who you work for?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like what's really going on here, because obviously the players and Steve Kerr want him back. He's got an amount of credibility and connection with the players that a lot of executives don't have. So the issue seems to be up top. What is that issue? And is the ship really already sailed and it's just a matter of him announcing that he's moving on? And if so, to what?
2 things. I heard early on the money was a little bit of it, but that kind of got, I don't want to say resolved, but like the Warriors realized they needed him. I think it's a little bit just personal. Does he want to continue to do this? Does he want this grind? And part of it is power. This 2 timelines thing that failed so spectacularly, that wasn't all Bob Myers, right? Like, that was an ownership idea. They liked the idea of just being able to roll this into what they were going to do next. I think he may have been more realistic. So I think there's a little of that. And if he leaves, look, the Clippers would be interested. There's a whole bunch of teams that would be interested. But I've heard, like, if he steps away, it is genuinely like, I'm going to take a year off, back up, and then pick my spot. Wow. Like, I don't know that this is a Monty Williams situation where he's going to be on somebody else's bench next year. I don't know that that's going to happen with Bob Myers. But there will be teams calling, including, like I said, I'd heard the Clippers, who have a kind of crowded front office, but might be open. I don't know, by the way, guys, do the Warriors, you're right, the offseason is shaped. I mean, you're going to have to go to Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and ask them to take less. That's a hard thing to do if you're not Bob Myers. It's a hard thing to do if you're Bob Myers. It's a really hard thing to do if you're the next guy in line.
And it may not be the right thing to do. It's the emotional thing to keep it together. But that's kind of, we'll save that for another day. It may not be the right move to keep it together, Michael. Go ahead.
Hey, you talk about, hard thing to do, Kurt, and emotional thing to do. How about in Phoenix? They thought it was the easy thing to do, just to move on from Monty Williams. And I'm looking at this, Kurt. I'm like, wait a minute. It's been there 4 years. It won a franchise record 64 games just last season. I know Game 7s have been a problem in the last 2 years. But they blew up their team at the insistence of their rookie governor. And now they put it on Monty Williams. Just what is your take on this particular firing? Just seems to be wrong.
If you're going to fire a coach from a contending team, you need I think you need reason. You can make the argument that the Bucks had a reason to move on from Budenholzer, that he couldn't take them where they needed to go next. But the other part of this, guys, is in every sport, if you're firing your coach at this level, don't you have to have an idea who's next and who's better? Don't you have to have that guy kind of locked in before you make this move?
Yes. Ideally, I don't know that they operate that way.
They want Ty. I've heard they want Ty Lue, but
think about that.
They want Ty Lue, but Ty Lue is under contract for like 2 more years, I think, with the Clippers. And Ty Lue was incredibly frustrated this season. Like, he might sort of be open to moving on, but his biggest backer in that organization is Steve Ballmer. And Steve Ballmer writes really large checks. So Ty Lue said he'd be back. I'll take him at his word there. So is Nick Nurse the upgrade? I don't know where else you go.
But who in the hell doesn't like Monty Williams? What human being doesn't like Monty Williams?
Yeah,
so all I know is it's like, Chris Paul, where does he go? I have an idea for him, but like, here's Kevin Durant once again. There's just a trail of destruction that seems to follow Kevin Durant, whether it's his fault or not. So count down to when he requests a trade from the Suns. But you mentioned whether they have a plan in place when they make these moves. Let's go to the Eastern Conference now. Michael and I talked about this early on. Because I'm emotional at this point. I'm just like, anybody but Doc. Like, we've seen the Doc movie in the same way too many times. Michael's like, well, who you gonna get that's better? I'm like, I don't know, but I just know it can't be Doc. So what's your view on the Sixers' future? Because all I know is, like, they are the embodiment of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, and therefore driving us all insane with how they continue to bow out so less than gracefully in these win or go home situations.
I think that they move on from Doc in part because they could use a different voice in the room. Those Game 7, the last 5 quarters of basketball for them was painful to watch. Like, the fourth quarter of Game 6 with that almost 6-minute dry spell, or a little over 6-minute dry spell, just, it's unacceptable. And that's not all on the coach. But they can only make so many personnel moves, and they've obviously got I was going to say they have a James Harden decision. They're going to put a lot of money in front of James Harden. James Harden has to decide what James Harden wants.
Why? No, if he wants to opt in, but do not make this, like, come on, like, fool me once, shame on you.
He wants security.
Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. Okay, I don't care what he wants. I don't give a damn what James Harden wants. It's like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that. No, absolutely not. They should.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think
how much.
That's
I know what GM is,
and I've told,
but still.
I've told you guys, and I've been hearing this since the All-Star break. The Houston stuff's real. Like, him going back to Houston stuff that's not just smoke. Like, there's genuine fire there. I don't know if it's going to happen or if that becomes a leverage play on Daryl Morey. But there's got to be shakeups there.
On the first thing smoking. Put all of them on the first thing smoking.
You've got to make changes, though. I think you've got to have a new coach, and I think you've got to shift the personnel around Embiid in some way. That Boston's not going anywhere. Milwaukee's not going anywhere. We could run through the teams on the rise. Like, they have to find a way to get better. Yeah. And it's not on Embiid. Embiid is the MVP.
The other team is not going anywhere, and here they are, even though we don't really understand why they're here. The number 8 seed Miami Heat taking on the Celtics on Wednesday night. Now, if I just look at the personnel, and this is a mistake, I'm not going to make this mistake, but if I look at the personnel, I'd say Celtics in 5. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't know. I picked the Celtics in 5. You know why you're wrong, though? I think the thing that concerns me, and I talked about this morning about the edge, like it's how serious are the Celtics going to take this? How much are they just going to? Are they going to waste 2 games?
Are they going to waste 2 games? Jimmy Butler in the Heat. It's not like a team that didn't damn near beat them last year, and then seen 3 or 4 years. You can't take them lightly. They got to know better than that.
You would like to think that, but this team, they're focused game to game. The other problem they've got, I think, the other real matchup advantage: Eric Spoelstra versus Joe Mazzulla. Eric Spoelstra is going to coach circles around him. Around the rookie coach. And I don't want to, like, Joe Mazzulla may grow into something spectacular, but he's learning some hard lessons as a rookie coach. And Eric Spoelstra is going to pull all the right strings.
Fair.
So,
well, I just don't know if he's got enough arrows. And I did say Celtics in 5, but he's got enough. It just does Spoelstra have enough arrows in the quiver to make it matter. Like he can, as brilliant as he is, the end of the day, I love Gabe Vincent. Shout out UC Santa Barbara. There's only so much you're going to get out of those guys.
We always get a lot out of you, Kurt Helin. We appreciate you, man. Pro Basketball Talk. Y'all should be reading it all day, every day. I know I do. Thanks for dropping by, man. Go take a dip in the pool.
Yeah, gonna get in. I'm gonna swim some laps, get some exercise here.
One day, maybe at the end of the season, just rip it off and just dive in at the end of the season. Like your last hit of the season, just be like,
just
1, 2, 3 Cancun, 1, 2, 3 backyard, something. All right, man, be good.
Take care, guys.
All right, Kurt.
Mark my words, the Lakers will not give back that which they took in Game 1, which is home court advantage. See, the Warriors right now, they're sitting there saying, we've been here before, we've been down before, we've been blown out before. But that's my problem with the Warriors. Why they gotta be like this? Why do you turn around and allow the Lakers to exhibit more force than you do? Okay? So now, tonight, what's gonna happen, they're gonna go down 3-1, and it's gonna end in 6. Mark my words.
Who's more entertaining? Jokic? Who's efficient and passes the ball and looks like one of those air flyer things outside of a car dealership? Or Joel Embiid, who's funny and engaging and scores more points? This was not complicated. The most valuable, most interesting player in the league was Joel Embiid this year.
How is it that I ask you a question and I think it's going to be just like, an easy answer, and you just find a way to insult people?
Do you know how bad a coach you have to be that you're getting out-coached by Doc Rivers? Doc Rivers, who's the modern-day Lenny Wilkins, who's underachieved almost every single place he's been, except when he's got a tremendous... Like that's how bad the coaching is for the Celtics.
I got a list already. Sherrod, he's already taken out, by my count, he's already taken out 26 people.
I need to be a team that when you see you have the Dallas Cowboys on the schedule or your matchup for the playoffs, you're like, oh crap, we might lose.
It's going to be difficult for the Cowboys to win without your number 1 center, Ezekiel Elliott. Oh my God.
I don't want to hear shit about anxiety. I don't want to hear shit about stress. Ja Morant is just suffering from a severe case of stupidity. I don't know what the cure is, but it ain't that fake-ass counseling that he underwent. And if a damn sure ain't another fake-ass softball interview talking about, oh, that ain't me. Bruh, that's literally you on camera. Twice now.
Right.
That's you. Oh, he's running with the wrong people. Looks like his people got his best interests in mind because his boy quickly tried to turn the camera away. So it seems like Ja Morant is the one you can't take nowhere. It seems like he the one that is causing all the trouble here. So listen, the first time, maybe you might have been inclined to offer a young guy a little bit of grace. But he's used all that up. Like, I don't want to hear nothing from the apologists because, like, again, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. Like, the apologists, the NBA, all the people, the so-called media members, all the people who decided to further enable his knucklehead behavior. Like, where you at now? It's like first of all, can we just talk about guns for a second? Like, and I'm a gun owner. It's like, look, man, nobody cares if you got a gun. It's not a watch. It's not a chain. It's not an accessory. It's not a fashion statement. Right. Nobody cares when you have a gun. Nobody's impressed that you have a gun, and nobody's intimidated by the fact that you have a gun. That's number one. Number two, you want to talk about shooting yourself in the foot, self-inflicted wound. My guy, this is on IG Live. It'd be one thing if he got pulled over and a gun was found in the car illegally, unregistered, whatever. That happens all the time. You doing it on you flexing for Instagram. You done already blown $40 million because you didn't make all NBA behind this bullshit, and here you are doing it again? It's like, bruh, I got nothing for Ja Morant. I got no sympathy for Ja Morant. I have no time for Ja Morant. This dude has gone from being one of the brightest stars in the NBA to its biggest fool, maybe ever. Maybe ever. Because he still hasn't actually broken a law. He still hasn't actually been arrested. He's just messing around on Instagram. This pisses me off to the highest levels of festivity.
Listen, this is that's part of the story. Part of the story is a social media story, and there's a lot more to go on that, maybe for a different day. But you were going down the road I wanted you to go down, and you kind of put this group in there, but you didn't name them exactly. You said you don't want to hear from the apologists, the fake media members, the NBA, all this stuff, Ja Morant, his enablers.
Here's your 8-game suspension retroactively. The Grizzlies.
Okay.
I mean,
there we go. That's what I want you to talk about. I want you to talk about the Grizzlies because here's the problem.
Sure, yeah.
The problem with Ja Morant, it's twofold. It's Ja himself and it's his employer. It's not, I'm going to leave the NBA out of it. I'm going to go right to Memphis. I'm going to go right to grit and grind, old school, Memphis. Because you can't make decisions, you can't make important decisions with the NBA schedule and the playoffs in mind. So when you suspend Ja Morant for 8 games and say Ja is working it out and you still have the playoffs in mind, you're not doing right by you, you're not doing right by Ja Morant. What really should have happened is he should have been suspended indefinitely because it was too soon for all the stuff that you've referenced, and I agree with you 100%. It was too soon for this what have you learned stage.
Right. Nothing.
Hey, no, nothing. You haven't learned anything because it hasn't.
Enough.
Right. It's not enough time. It's not enough time for any kind of, big takeaway, any kind of insight. If you're thinking about, hey, this is what I need to do to get back on the court, what you're doing is checking boxes. You're not humbling yourself. You're not learning anything. So we knew it at the time. This is why great interviews are timeless. You know great ones when you see them. And we knew it at the time. That wasn't sincere. That was fake.
No.
Because he's talking about, I got to learn this. And who are you with? In the car. You're with the same guy who was banned from Memphis games.
Is there any question? Wait, is there any question, speaking of previous incidents, that there was a red dot pointed? Like, I know they never corroborated it, but is there any question at all at this point that somebody pointed a laser at Pacers staff? I have no doubt in my mind that actually happened, okay? But it's like this, man. It's like kind of like with kids. We talked about kids earlier, we'll come back to it. Like, ideally you want your kids to do the right thing for the right reasons. Not because they're afraid of the consequences. He might just have to be, the fear of the consequences may have to be what gets him right. Because I don't know that, whatever counseling he did, I don't know that talk about, this is not who I am. He's too young to even know who the hell he is at this point. He doesn't know who he is. He's still trying to figure it out, okay? But on the road to figuring it out, he doesn't seem to have any kind of incentive in the form of, if I don't get my shit together, I could lose everything. That little 8-game suspension wasn't enough to scare him straight. They're going to have to sit him for half the season, if not more. And maybe that's the thing that we'll get into. At minimum, stay off of IG. Because nobody's saying you can't carry a gun. That would be hypocritical of me to say that.
Right.
Nobody's saying you can't own a gun in America. Why must you put it on Instagram, fool? Golly, what is this, a 90s rap video?
Right.
They still do that?
The top of that draft, though, is really cursed. It really is. As you said, nobody's done anything illegal, but the missteps, the immaturity in different circumstances, vastly different circumstances, has really affected two franchise players who have two all-NBA talented, extremely gifted players in Zion Williamson at number 1 and Ja Morant at number 2. And so with Zion Williamson, New Orleans is challenged with this question: what should we do with this guy? Should we hold on to him? Does he need a change of scenery? And I'm going to ask you the same question about Ja Morant. In a little bit of time we have left, what would you do? If you're Memphis, do you hold on to him and say he's going to get it right? He's too talented for us to move on. Because as much as we're saying, hey, I was going to say, all the stuff we're saying right now, every team in the NBA, I'd say like half of them. Half of them be like, yeah, he is. It is stupid, but what would you take for him? I'm just wondering. I mean, like, you want to talk? We serious?
Hey,
would you think about
would I move him? I wouldn't move him if I were Memphis, but our relationship, the terms of this relationship would have to change dramatically. Hey, with the time we have left, I really do want to give a shout out to a couple of people with some good news. We'll finish with some good news. Shout out to Jalen Hurts, who got his master's degree from Oklahoma in human relations. He had his undergrad bachelor's degree from Alabama in communication and information sciences. So Jalen Hurts has a master's degree. And also shout out to Todd Bowles, getting his degree 37 years after he left school for the NFL, kept a promise to his late mother, Joan. He got his Bachelor of Science degree in Youth and Community Development. I love stories of people continuing to grow and challenge themselves, no matter how late in life you may be. Bowles is 59 years old, I want to say.
59.
Yeah.
He's 59.
And Jalen Hurts has the soul of a 59-year-old. I mean, Jalen Hurts is the anti-Ja Morant for me right now. You know, just don't mess up, Jalen. Don't do nothing. Because he can seem to do no wrong right now. So.
Hey, listen, shout out to Hurts, shout out to Bowles, all the college graduates out there and high school graduates. And Michael, happy Mother's Day to Sarah.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day
to
Oni, to Marilyn,
to
Lisa,
to Maureen, to Lisa.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Carmen.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers everywhere. Mine was very peaceful. Happy Mother's Day to just every mother figure out there. Every big sister, every stepmom, every grandmother, every church mother, every godmother.
Bring it on.
Every intercessor.
That's right. Mothering. There are lots of people who have mothered.
I'm going to pray for Ja Morant.
They don't have kids, they have mothered.
I'm going to pray for Ja Morant right now.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.